So I'm finally starting to recognize how my overpreparedness is a result of avoiding negative stimuli, and it's to a degree that I now see is probably definitely a marker for autism. I'm not just really prepared for no reason. I've had higher sensitivities to things all my life, and my overpreparedness is the result. I just learned to compensate for things rather than question why I was doing what I was doing and other people don't. The result would have been the same, because I still want the desired effect, but the underlying reasoning is still good to know, to acknowledge. This play between cause and effect struck me when I was spending time with my best friend, Ray, who I basically only get to see once a year. Me and my partner Z spent a day with Ray and her partner, and we slept over at her partner's parents' house in a different town. The three of us, me, Z, and Ray, decided to go see the new Knives Out movie in theaters because none of us have Netflix to catch it on digital release anyway, so why not? Something to do. Me and Z have found the last couple times that we've gone to a theater that, quite honestly, the sound system is way too fucking loud. It's not just that we're more sensitive. I used to watch movies in theaters just fine, but within the last however many years, theaters have decided that they need to blast people's eardrums out. My inner ear actually hurts from the noise levels, and I don't know how they get away with it, honestly. But anyway, just generally, I keep earplugs on me when I go out because sometimes they're nice in situations like being on a transportation vehicle and wanting to dampen people's chatter so that I can focus on literally anything else. So when the opening trailers got going and were expectedly unnecessarily loud, I noticed that Ray slunk back in her seat and made like she was going to try and manufacture a bit of sound buffer with her jacket. But not to worry, I came prepared. I always have a regular pair of earplugs on me and a pair of concert earplugs for Z, but I also had a fresh new pair of earplugs in a case, which I expected to use that night while sleeping somewhere new because I'm a light sleeper. So, yes, I did just so happen to over-prepare and pull out 3 pairs of earplugs from my fanny pack so that we could all enjoy the way too loud movie theater. Later that day, when we were hanging out at the house that we were going to stay, I ran out of water in the Yeti mug that I bring around everywhere. I'm a bit particular about my water. I like it cold, and I like it on the distilled end of the taste spectrum. I can and will drink other water if I have to, but I'd rather not if I can help it. I don't like the taste or mouthfeel of some waters, particularly city tap water, and if it's warm, I don't get the same sense of refreshment. It's much less pleasurable of an experience if my preferences aren't met, which means that I will incidentally kind of avoid drinking water if it's the shitty water, which is bad. To be dehydrated, I know that, so I prepare for that, so it's not a problem. In this case, I filled my Yeti up with a 60% ratio of ice cubes to cold water that morning. The logic being that it's much easier for me to get my hands on water no matter where we are than to get my hands on ice. The water being cold also helps me drink it regardless of whether it's good or bad mouthfeel taste water, because just cold water is king. So when I finally ran out of water, I handed it to Ray to fill it up for me when she offered, and she looked in the cup and was like, "What the fuck? Why is there so much ice in there?" And obviously, I just explained the overcomplicated reasoning already, but also, her partner's parents didn't have an ice machine on their fridge, so it was more effort to get ice and more of a burden to ask for some, which I wouldn't have. But again, not to worry, I prepared so much extra ice that it saw me through until we left the next morning and I didn't have to suffer drinking warm water. All that to say, these are very small things, but I feel like they really exemplify how important it is to me to avoid certain stimuli. Over loud environments, drinking warm water, these things are important enough to me that I am always more than prepared to make sure that I don't encounter them. And it's all the little things like that that make up who I am and how I interact with the world that are, I think, pretty compelling examples of side effects of having been autistic all my life and just learning to adapt to provide what I need for myself. Because nobody else who's normal, I think, cares that much about those things, that they have several earplugs and days worth of water on their person whenever they're about to enter an environment that they don't have control over. But you tell me,